What's going on, Lions fans? Welcome in, Stephen Will. Another night, another Lions show. Real quick, there is not another podcast that does what Stephen will do at Detroit Den 313. Okay. We cannot guarantee, I cannot promise as of yet, but there's a small chance we might have our hands on some playoff tickets coming up for this weekend's game. Okay. Hit that subscribe button. I wish I could use the word and say, I promise you guys it'll happen. Small chance. If it does, we're going to be giving those away to a member. Think about becoming a member as well. But, Will, let's get
Yes,
into it,
sir.
man. Last night we did a show. We weren't 100% sure on who we'd be facing. We kind of left the door open. It was kind of a vague show. We're locked in. We know that it's going to be those Washington Commanders this weekend. How do you feel about that?
Uh, I don't know, man. Honestly, it's just the opponent. I want to know how everybody else feels, honestly, because I've seen a lot of people saying that they wanted certain teams. They wanted the Minnesota Vikings. They wanted, you know, some you had mentioned the Washington Commanders, kind of a new team, a new sauce. You know what I mean? Some people wanted the Rams. You mentioned breaking Matt Stafford's heart again. Is
And
there a
his
certain
kids.
team that? Yes. Is there stealing ice cream? Like, is there a certain team that you wanted? So put it in the comments. Or are you happy about the Commanders? Are you nervous? I'll tell you this. When I start on any football team, I look at the top and I got a tremendous amount of respect for Dan Quinn. That dude kind of reminds me of Coach Campbell, man. And he's a blue collar guy. He's gonna roll up in your spot with his hat turned backwards, ready to fuck you up, man. That's what he's gonna try to do. Players, coach, man, can be a bit of a rah-rah guy, man. I got tremendous respect for that dude. So my first instinct is excited. I think I tweeted out as soon as I got the news because I was still up, just itching. Because once I figured out that I could know one way or another, I had to wait and see. And once it was official that we had the Commanders, I said, "Hey, rookie quarterback, bring your ass here. Bring your ass here." But that's not to say that
got
I
this
don't
bell.
respect.
Got this bell for that young rook.
Yeah, but that's not to say that I don't have respect for him. So at this moment, I haven't got a chance to do crazy amounts of digging into the film. I did rewatch the game today at work. But so right now I'm still feeling it out, but excited. How you feeling?
I'm excited. I like to see new teams. We've already seen the Vikings. We see them twice a year. We've seen the Rams twice within the last calendar year almost. We saw the Buccaneers twice within the last calendar year, if that would have been the thing later down the road. But I like to see new teams. All right, I was excited, and I'll tell you this. I think the Washington, I might say Redskins a couple times this episode. It's just ingrained in my head. It's what I'm used
Washington
to calling.
football
Yeah, football
team,
team.
whatever.
Listen, no disrespect. If I accidentally call them the wrong name, it's not on purpose. It's just years of habit. All right, I don't talk about them every day. I thought that they got the best quarterback in the draft. I said that last year. I think that the Bears messed up when they took Caleb Williams. I thought Jaden Daniels was way better. Um, I'll say this hot take. I think Jaden Daniels reminds me a little bit of Lamar Jackson. All right, a young Lamar Jackson. He's very elusive. He can move. He's got his legs as a weapon. He's leading their team in rushing. I think he's somewhere in the vicinity of 900 yards, responsible for like over 30 touchdowns. Like he reminds me of a young Lamar. I'm excited to play them, but William, something happened last night after that Bucks and Tampa, that Tampa Bay and the Washington game. I'm
Yeah.
going to bring this clip in, and we're gonna see how everyone feels about this. I'm sure you guys have seen it before. It's circulating all over Twitter, TikTok. It's everywhere. Now, William, there's a quote from Dan Campbell from earlier in the year. I'm going to read this. This is Dan Campbell's exact words, and I quote, "We're still on the hunt. And I said this back in training camp, but if you're hunting us, you don't have to look far. We're going to be on your front porch when you open the door." Dan Campbell. So, fans out there saying we want Detroit, I'll tell you this. Young kids don't want to go into their bedroom and see the boogeyman. That's what might be happening here tonight. Well, we might be in their nightmares. So I mean, it's friendly trash talk. It's no disrespect. We can take it. It's fun. I appreciate that the Washington football team Commanders are on a run, but
Yeah.
your run ends Saturday night. That's all I'm going to say for now. Will, how do you feel about this friendly trash talk?
Yeah. It immediately, and I seen it all over Twitter, and I was like, "Ooh, careful, careful now, careful now." Again, I say it all the time. There's that bulletin board material. Be careful. Guys like Panay Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff. These are all guys. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. List goes on, man. We are a bulletin board team. Don't give us anything to put on the bulletin board. Oh, your fans are very happy and they can what they wanted us. Okay. Make the trip to Detroit and watch from one of these bars because you ain't gonna be able to get into the stadium. And watch how we give you that belt to ask, man. And there's a little change. I don't know if Washington fans are familiar that during the playoffs the belt changes. Right, it's not the same belt. The belt has spikes on it during the playoffs. They get serious. But Steve, you know I'm a boxing fanatic, man. I love boxing. I know it's not quite the same thing as MMA anymore. MMA is kind of taking it off. Enjoy MMA too, but there was a couple of years ago a huge fight. The buildup for it was huge. It was two guys, one by the name of Errol Spence, another guy by the name of Terrence Crawford. This was supposed to be a fight that was supposed to be a crazy, amazing fight, and I was telling everybody, listen, Terrence Crawford he's a different type of beast, man. You don't want to be in a ring locked in with no way out with Terrence Crawford. And Errol Spence talked crazy to this man, Steve. Like Errol Spence calls himself man down because the guy's gonna be man down. He's a big fish in a small pond. He's the big fish. And just I'm gonna bring these two guys in for guys who don't know. So on the left-hand side, right there, that's Errol Spence. On the right, that's Terrence Crawford. And this is before the fight, right? So Errol Spence talked all this trash, called Terrence Crawford out for years. One of them was pulling up at his gym, pulling up at his fights. And this is Errol Spence after the fight. Like, listen, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you beg for, because it might be an ass whooping on the other end of it. So this is directed at the fans. This is not directed at the coach. This is not directed at the players. Every interview that I've saw so far from coaches and players, going both ways, have been nothing but respectful, nothing but I think really just giving respect to what's been done on both ways. The Detroit Lions have done some special things this year. I don't think that can be argued by anybody, man. But this rookie QB has come in. He doesn't look bothered by anything. He always looks poised. He's had special moments from Hail Marys to comeback wins in his first playoff game, right? This dude is ready to go. Is there some things that I believe that we could potentially exploit that I'll get into when we get closer to game day shows? I do. I think there's some things that we can exploit just from him being a rookie. But you mentioned Lamar Jackson, Steve, a young Lamar Jackson. And I'll say he reminds me of a year 3 Lamar Jackson, right? He seems to be a little bit ahead of the game. He seems a little bit more comfortable. He seems to be a better passer. He seems to be a little bit more choosy when he runs the football rather than just kind of taking off like Lamar did and just being so dynamic with his feet or like he was early in his career. But he does have all of those abilities and even his mannerisms. It reminds me kind of Kobe Bryant to Michael Jordan. You could tell that he's watching Lamar Jackson because the way that he runs the football, the way that he run in the pocket. If you do a side by side, and I'm sure somebody probably has done it, man, but I'm not a Commanders fan, and I'm not a Redskins or a Ravens fan, so I haven't looked. I'm sure there's not a side by. I'm sure there is a side by side, but I haven't looked for it. But they look very similar, man. So I think we're gonna have our hands full with Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, we'll have our hands full, and I got a little comparison that doesn't involve someone not having a face after a boxing match. I'll try to keep mine a little bit more family appropriate. Well, you're familiar with the story of Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
So Cinderella wanted to go to the ball. She wanted to have a good time. She wanted to get all dressed up. She wanted all the eyes on her. She wanted to go home with Prince Charming. Eventually, that clock's going to hit midnight, William, and that story's over. It's a wrap. That's what I see happening on Saturday night, okay? That clock's going to hit. It's not even going to hit midnight. It's going to hit about 10:30, all right? Midnight's going to come a little early. We're going to think it's daylight savings all over again. We're going to fast forward time. Again, don't want to get into too much game day stuff. Like I agree with you 100%. I think this is for the Washington team. This is a matchup nightmare. Like you have Jayden Daniels. I love what they're doing. I love that they got a solid piece to build around. I just don't think they're on our level yet. All right, I think they could get there, but I think it's going to take a little time. Dan Quinn and Dan Campbell are essentially the same coach. Like they're both going to be aggressive. There's no fourth and I saw something on Twitter today that both teams might as well just give the punters the day off because that's how aggressive both punters are. I couldn't agree more. I wish I knew who tweeted that out. I'd give you a shout out, but I can't remember. But it was 100% true. Like, this is going to be aggressive play calling. I'm looking for Aaron Glenn versus Cliff Kingsbury. That's something we might dive into on a later episode. A offensive genius versus a defensive genius who's playing with, banged up players and guys that would normally be on a practice squad. So it's going to be a matchup to watch for. I'm excited. How do you feel about Jayden Daniels? Do you think he was he should have been the number 1 quarterback in the draft last year?
No, it was Caleb Williams. I don't think you can deny Caleb Williams. Now, I'm not saying Caleb Williams is going to have a better career, but I couldn't. If I was drafting number 1, I couldn't have passed on Caleb Williams, man. Like, because that's immediate. That's a fireable offense immediately, because the dude physically can do everything. Now, is there some mental games that is could be problematic for sure, but from a talent standpoint, he can do anything you need somebody to be able to do on a football field. So that's no disrespect to Jayden Daniels at all. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. He's doing a hell of a job, and he's a type of quarterback that I would love to see leading a team, man, a young franchise. So I don't want it to be a knock on him by any means. It's just Caleb. He's got a special arm. He's got athleticism. He's a big guy. I don't know. I couldn't say that he should have been number 1, but who will have a better career? Who knows, man?
I'll tell you this. I'm glad Jayden Daniels isn't in our division, because I do think he was the better quarterback. I think he does everything Caleb Williams does, plus some, and he's got the mental edge. Like you said, this kid does not play like a rookie. All right, so I will say this as well. In that clip that we showed, a lot of Washington fans there in Tampa. All right. I do not expect that. You kind of hinted at it a little bit ago. This is a different environment. All right. We've seen playoff football here. Those lights are going to go off. It's going to be completely dark. There's going to be some loud music. And I think Jayden Daniels is going to say, dang, like, this ain't Tampa. We're not outside. We're locked in here with these dudes now. Like, it's time for war. And Detroit's hungry, man. We've never hosted an NFC championship. We're 60 minutes of football away. We're not going to get too ahead and think about who we're playing next, because any given Sunday, all right, as much as I think that the Detroit Lions should be favored in this game, I don't even know what the spread is. I haven't even looked yet, but I think 8.5, that's a lot of points for a playoff game. I'll just tell you that. Yeah. But again, any given Sunday, you never know what's going to happen. All right. I don't want to even put it out there, but we had a bye week. These guys have been playing good football. I think I saw a stat today that the Washington football team has won. I did it again. The Washington Commanders have won like 7 games in the final 30 seconds. So this is a team that you don't want hanging around. All right. They find ways to win late. I think Detroit has the power to put them away early. We'll talk about some more stuff in game day, Will, but I'm excited, man. I love seeing brand new teams. I have not seen Washington in Ford Field ever, so I'll have to check that one off the box. I don't have many teams that I haven't seen in person. This is one of them. So that's another thing. And I don't even look at seeding. I see them as they're the 7th seed, but they're like, I think 13-5 now after their win yesterday. So 12-5 getting into the playoffs, most of the time that will win you your division. I think the Lions we were 12-5 last year, and that was good enough to win the division. So this is a good team. Their record, they're just unfortunate to have the Eagles in their division, because that's why they're not hosting a playoff game. This is a damn good football team. Don't be sleeping on them. 8.5 points. That smells like a trap to me. I'm a betting man. I don't bet on Lions games, though. I don't like to be double invested. All right. I just want the win. I don't want to have to worry about covering or anything like that. I don't touch Lions games. I'll bet on damn near every other game in the NFL, but I don't bet on the home team.
So all in all, you're feeling good, though.
I feel good. And it's not even anything. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I just feel confident in the Lions. It doesn't matter if we're going against the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Patriots. It doesn't matter to me. I'm confident in what the Lions can do. We play 3 aspects of football very, very well. You can say what you want about our defense. They pitched a 9-point shutout. That's a new thing we created a couple weeks ago. All right. So Aaron Glenn should be assistant coach of the year. We got some guys playing good football right now on offense, defense. We got 1,000 different weapons, 1,000 different ways we can kill you. So it's not anything against who we're playing. It's just I'm that confident in our team, William. How do you feel?
I dig it, man. I feel good. I feel like we pull out the win, man, but I think there's going to be some drama, and I'm doing the best that I can not to give up too much of the secret sauce, because I got some things that I got ready to talk about when we get closer to game day stuff. I don't know how we're going to do it this week. We haven't talked about it. Are we going to be highlighting key players? Are we going to go straight into game day stuff? What we're going to do? But I'm gonna save a little bit of the special sauce for that. But I want to know how people feel too, man. Leave it in the comments. How do you feel? Do we have things that we need to worry about with these Washington Commanders? Are you feeling just overconfident? I don't even want to say overconfident, just like super confident that we got this thing in the bag. Vegas is feeling pretty confident, obviously, man, giving us 8.5 points. So I don't know. I do sit in a space to where I feel like we can get it done in a non-dramatic fashion if we execute, but I think there is a path for this game to be a tough football game. So leave it in the comments if you guys think kind of where I'm going with that and where my thought process is, or just let me know if you think that I'm freaking off base, man. I can take it either way.
Will said the Lions are going to win by 40. Give the 8 points, lay it. That's what he said. Yeah, and guys, we'll talk more on our game day show. All right, we're familiar with Terry McLaurin, Bobby Wagner, their running game. They got some Zach Ertz. They got some other weapons besides Jane Daniels. He's just kind of the, he's the pot. All right, we got to keep that pot nice and cold. We don't want to get hot.
I think this though, and this is something that I'll get into more on the game day episode. I really like how they use Austin Eckler. I think we should be using Jahmyr Gibson that way. They line Austin Eckler up at receiver an awful lot, man. Even motion him, like line him up at receiver, then motion him back into the backfield, man. They play a lot of games, man. I like what Cliff Kingsbury is doing. It's more of a, do I want to say, a college style offense rather than the NFL style, pro style offense that we're kind of, the league is known for. I like the direction that the league is going with these read options and RPOs and, spreading it out and then motioning, getting guys on the run into their routes. Like I love all this stuff, man. Misdirection, shifts. It's getting interesting, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah, we'll get more into the X's and O's later on. Will's pretty much just spilling the beans on everything we're going to talk about later.
No, I got some stuff I got some stuff loaded, man. I want to, though. I got some stuff locked and loaded. I'm excited to do some more digging, though.
Thursday night, we'll have game day episode out. We'll let you guys dive into that for a couple days. Stick around, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.